The HOA president actually tried to have me arrested over a rock. Not just any rock, but a small memorial I carved for my late dog. 10 minutes later, she was the one being cuffed, her empire collapsing in front of the entire neighborhood. Act 1. Conflict ignites. When I first moved into my lakeside cottage at Blue Heron, I thought I'd finally found peace. After years of grinding work, I wanted quiet mornings, a little dock for fishing, and a place where my daughter could visit without worrying about traffic and noise. The cottage sat right at the edge of the water. Birch trees swayed in the breeze, ducks glided across the lake, and for the first few weeks, it was heaven. Then I met Karen Glass. Karen wasn't just the president of the HOA, she was the self-anointed queen of the neighborhood. Mid-50s, stiff blonde bob that looked more like a helmet, pearl earrings that caught the sun just right, and that ever-present HOA rulebook tucked under her arm. She came by the day after I moved in, carrying a bottle of off-brand Chardonnay and the thick HOA manual. "Welcome to Blue Heron Shores," she said, flashing that fake smile. "We like to keep things uniform here." Translation: she liked to control everything. At first, it was little stuff. A snide remark about my mailbox not being approved beige, or a warning about the height of my grass. I brushed it off. I'd seen Karens like her before. But the real war started with a rock. I'd carved my dog Buster's name into a smooth stone and placed it under the birch tree by the lake. Buster had been with me through thick and thin road trips, heartbreaks, long nights fixing up the cottage. That stone wasn't just decoration, it was memory. Karen saw it on one of her morning inspection walks. By afternoon, I found a bright orange paper taped to my door. Violation, unauthorized, landscape alteration. I thought it had to be a mistake. I went over to her house to explain. "Karen, it's a memorial for my dog. It's small. It doesn't hurt anything." She looked at me the way a queen looks at a peasant. "Rules are rules. Remove it by Friday or face fines." Then she closed the door in my face. That was the moment I realized this wasn't about aesthetics. It was about power. Act 2. Escalation and turning point. The pressure built fast. 3 days later, I got a certified letter in the mail. Remove the stone in 72 hours, or face daily fines of $500. If unpaid, the HOA could pursue foreclosure over a rock. Every time I looked outside, Karen's car crawled past my house. 2 board members, Stan, the bald guy with his ever-present visor, and Linda, who carried a camera like a weapon, started photographing my property from the street. I felt like I was living under surveillance. One night, I sat at my kitchen table, head in my hands. Maybe this isn't worth it. An AE thought. Maybe I should just take the rock out, sell the house, move somewhere without an HOA nightmare. I even called my brother Mark. He said, "Man, just let it go. It's a rock, not worth the stress." And for a moment, I believed him. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I'd picked the wrong hill to die on. But then I looked out at that birch tree. The moonlight hit the stone just right, and I remembered Buster lying under that same tree. Watching the lake with me, I whispered, "Not this time. Not you." That's when the fight came back. I drove down to the county office the next morning, hours digging through old records, property deeds, and dusty charter documents, and then jackpot. An amendment from 1952, 12 shoreline properties, including mine, were permanently exempt from HOA landscaping and beautification rules. It was ironclad. They had no jurisdiction over me. I walked out of that office grinning like a madman. I had the silver bullet. But I didn't just want to win for myself. Karen had been tormenting this community for years. I wanted to end it for everyone. That's when my neighbor Paul, a retired history teacher, came up with an idea. If you really want to break her, make her show her true colors in public. So we built a trap, literally, right there on my dock. We installed a 12-foot-tall pink flamingo, covered it in glitter, strapped a disco ball under its beak, and wired up lights so it sparkled like Vegas every night. It was absurd, gaudy, and completely legal under my exemption. The moment Karen saw it, her face turned crimson. Act 3. The climax. She lost it. Within hours, Karen marched down the street with Stan and Linda in tow. She waved her clipboard like a sword. "This structure is illegal," she screeched. "You'll be removed immediately." I just stood there, calm, holding my stack of documents. Actually, Karen, I think you'll find it's perfectly legal. Neighbors started gathering. Phones came out. People whispered, smirking, waiting to see what would happen. Karen doubled down. She called the police. 10 minutes later, 2 officers showed up. She practically ran to them. Arrest him. He's violating HOA covenants, disrupting community standards. The cops walked over to me. I handed them the charter from 1952. This property is exempt. HOA has no jurisdiction here. The officers skimmed it, nodded, and turned to Karen. Ma'am, you don't have authority over this lot. The silence that followed was beautiful. Karen's jaw dropped. She sputtered, turned to Stan for backup. But Stan looked nervous. He pulled an envelope from his jacket and handed it to the officers. Inside, bank statements, receipts, proof that Karen had embezzled more than $60,000 from HOA funds. The officers' expressions hardened. Karen screamed, lunged for the papers, and I swear I'm not making this up, tripped over one of Paul's garden gnomes. She hit the ground, flailing, as the cops cuffed her right there on the grass. The crowd erupted. Some clapped, others laughed, a few filmed the whole thing. For the first time in years, the neighborhood felt free. Closing line. Bullies don't stop until someone forces them to. That day, we forced ours, and she'll never block anyone's peace again.